These are the objectives that we're going to lay out for our game coming up on Saturday. A lot of this information is stuff that we used to prepare for our game this past Sunday against Fusion. So the first thing that I'm going to identify is the line at which we confronted the ball. So we dropped that line much deeper than when we were playing in previous games this season. So again, as we go through and look at the examples, I want you to be mindful of that. With the line being dropped deeper, the forwards need to press together. So we're going to look at moments from our previous game where that objective was met or it wasn't met. Then we know that the rotation is that when the ball is on the strong side of the field, we want that wingback to jump up and to be able to pressure the ball. The weak side wingback, so the wingback on the opposite side, we want to drop back and tuck in to become a part of the back line. Our first example that we outlined, I set the line 20 yards outside, 15 yards outside of the 18-yard box. So in this example, the two forwards are the highest players up on the field. Notice the center back in this instance is on top of the 18-yard box with the ball, and our forwards are not running at the ball yet. They're being patient, they're waiting. And then also the widest players on the field, so in this case, the 11 and the 7 playing wingbacks, they're tucked in. So they're not stretched man marking. When we start watching film and looking at examples, I want you to think of this question in your head. If St. Croix plays long from the back, how does this affect our line at which we confront the ball? There's going to be different situations that are going to demand different questions. But one of the things I want you to start to think about is we haven't played a team yet this season where on all their goal kicks and all their punts from the goalie, where the ball is going to go long. So the second principle that we're going to look at when we watch a few clips is we're going to look at our compactness. Okay? So again, compactness is two directions. So how big are we? Are we tall from the center backs to the forwards? Remember, when the other team has the ball, so in this case, their center back has the ball, our forwards are dropped off, right? So we do not have a high line right now. We're in the middle of the field. From the forward to the center backs, all right, and every player in between, we should be tucked in together. So if they do try to play between us, we can collapse on the ball. But again, I just want you to start to think about the question that I asked. So if that number 4 in the game against St. Croix is just going to go long, how does that impact our shape? Does that mean that the two forwards have to drop deeper and the center backs have to drop deeper as well? Or does that mean our forwards jump up and try to pressure the ball and deny the long ball, and then our center backs jump up as well? Okay. The second dimension that we need to be compact is from the left wing to the right wing. So in this case, both the wings are tucked into the middle of the field. They have not yet jumped out to man mark or to go pressure the ball. So now we are protecting all the space in between us. And again, I want you to ask yourself this question. Where do we want them to go right now? Where are we allowing them to go? Okay, you don't need to answer yet, but these are the questions you need to be asking. So on the last question, when I asked, given that our shape was compact both vertically and horizontally, I asked the question, where do we want the ball to go? So naturally, we hope that the ball goes wide. So in this diagram, just outlining simple rotations for us, if the center back plays the outside back, or however, let's say the ball just arrives to a wide player, right? We know that we want the wing to jump up and apply pressure on the ball. As the wing jumps up and applies pressure on the ball, then the strong side center back, in this case the 3, the left-sided center back, goes and jumps on the 7. Behind the 3, you see that the center back is rotating over, the right center back is rotating over, and now the weak side wing is dropping back and tucking in. And this rotation needs to happen quickly. One of the things I want us to focus on then is, so when we get our rotation right, or we're compact and they play into us and we win the ball, what's next? So we saw this a lot in our scrimmage on Sunday. We did a very good job. You guys did what was asked of you. You met the objectives. You got compact. The other team kind of played the ball into a blob of you, and you guys won the ball. Now, the problem is, because you've gotten compact, when we win the ball, we're all standing next to each other. So the second we start to win the ball, or you perceive that we're going to win the ball, you need to start thinking what's next. So in the diagram, you can see we're in a compact shape, therefore plays it to R11. And the reaction needs to be from this moment is that everyone needs to get away from the ball. We need to immediately expand. Okay, so this is going to be super important because if we consistently win the ball, both stay compact both vertically and horizontally to one another, in that transition moment, we're going to have nowhere to go. We're just going to create a chaotic moment. So it's a really good image. The two forwards, Avery and Olivia, are both dropped back, waiting patiently. Kendall's tucked in. Pema's just behind, as there's two center mids, so Pema's near one of their center mids. Okay, so it's a really good starting position from the image we can see. Now we get a little more context. We see both the center mids. They're 5 yards off of the forwards. They could maybe be a little bit deeper, but it's a really good starting position. Addie jumps out to confront and put pressure on the ball. Brilliant. Makes the ball go backwards. Now, everyone starts to shift over. Okay, very good. Both the forwards shift over to the strong side of the field. We have Addie who put pressure on the ball. And we have Aubrey and Pema just behind, all connected. Eliza intercepts the ball. Good, so you can see in that last example, in this really key moment, we win the ball once, Eliza intercepts it. It goes back to the other team. We remain compact, and then we end up just forcing a bad decision out of the player. And then immediately we've already expanded, we're in a big shape, and we're going in behind. So that's beautiful. Okay, Olivia and Avery have jumped a little higher. They're probably getting antsy at this point. This is later in the game. Kendall's tucked in. Pema and Addie have slided over, so everything looks good. Again, we've achieved compactness. We probably could get this weak-sided player to tuck in further. We intercept the ball. Good, Kendall can't play forward. So this is the expanding moment now where we need to get bigger. We do a good job of playing out of pressure and getting away. Okay, and we lose the ball, and look at the positive reaction after we lost the ball. Okay, everyone starts gathering behind the ball. We immediately get every single midfielder behind the ball. We force the ball to go backwards, and now it's wonderful work rate by Avery coming back as the forward. So that's, honestly, that's brilliant. That's so good. This is such a change in behavior. It's so positive. Everyone's getting back behind the ball. They make the ball go backwards. And now the forward comes and joins and helps out. Before, the action of the forward, whoever it was usually just sitting up here high waiting. But now we've got Avery with a high work rate coming back. And after Avery wins the ball, she then provides the run in behind to get us going. And then we see Pema making a deep run. And it ends up being a really good chance. Okay, so this is now an example from the scrimmage against the 2010s. So they're in possession of the ball. Okay, so you can just see right here. We've now had 3 or 4 seconds to get back behind the ball. We have forwards above the ball. We have right wing above the ball. We've not achieved compactness. Our left wing is spread out. All right, so we have a really big open shape. Okay, so Avery's going to man mark. This is one of the behaviors that we change. We want Avery to drop back and tuck in. And now look at the distance between our forwards. All right, so it's about 25 to 30 yards between our forwards. Only one is going to press. Again, we can see as this ball travels, we still got 25 yards between the two forwards, so they're not pressing together. And then now we can see the center mid on the opposing team is in wide open space, splitting our forwards, and we've not man marked the center mid. Okay, again, every player who's now touching the ball has yards of open space. Now, they don't end up hurting us in this moment. It goes out of bounds, but you can just kind of get the general concept of like, if we are this spread out against St. Croix, if there's this much space between us, we know that they're going to hurt us. Okay, so again, looking at the first two clips, we saw really positive change, but just to highlight the growth, it's important to look at this still frame and see how spread out we were before we made change. Okay, second clip starts with a goal kick. Again, so change of behavior. Forwards are on top of the 18-yard box, and they're spread 25 yards apart. Their defensive mid is open. Okay, so we're in a really big shape right now. Not only are we in a really big shape, but between the forward to the center backs who are not even in the picture yet, we're leaving 40 yards of space, 50 yards of space between us. So we're wide open both vertically and horizontally. As you can see, the ball goes long, and then now start to look at these gaps between us. Gwen is sitting here. Okay, there's no one in this giant 30-yard radius of a circle in the middle of the field. Okay, no one can get pressure on Gwen because we're spread out, and then it's a simple through ball and behind.